help or assistance over the years. And this council, I believe, has singularly committed to do everything we can to make this work. Also, I believe that we would be remiss as an elected body to miss what I learned in church a long time ago. My original pastor sitting back there, Chris Jordan, Kairos, which says that there's an opportunity and a door that's open for a specific time, for a specific purpose. I believe that it is the time to elevate this issue of gentrification to the very top of our agenda in development. I apologize to my fellow council members for being late at committee of the whole. When I got there, they'd already talked about it. So that's not your fault, that's my fault. I have 3 more comments to make. Number 1 is in the notice issue. We need to immediately, I think we've already discussed it, we do not need to have one vehicle, one official vehicle to disseminate information. We have several newspapers that cover this area. Every newspaper from the Nashville Graphic to the Weekly Defender and anybody else should get a copy of that. We need to add that officially to the press releases or the notices that go out, and that should be done immediately. We also, I heard Kellyanne say that we are aggressively going to develop a social media policy or something like that. Am I putting words in your mouth?
Email subscription for citizens.
Okay, and I'd say let's take it the next step, and let's do this Facebook, Instagram. We can post pictures of what we're eating for dinner. We can certainly put on there public notices about these issues and concerns. Number 2, I disagree with waiting and see. Martin King came to Rocky Mount in 1962, and he said the Negro cannot wait. We've been pushed back long enough. I think we can begin, city council members, to move and elevate this issue to year 1. We can start the conversation. There's no reason we can't start that. If somebody has to give me a reason that makes sense to my mind why we have to wait for 2 years to start a conversation about something that's already been happening and it's taking place every day. People are buying up properties, they are bringing in their investment, and we're happy about that. However, other people are losing their properties at faster rates than they can hold on to them, and people need help, and I believe that we have a collective wisdom in our community to make this happen. And the third thing that I do believe, and I am asking our council members to agree with our communities on this, I think we need to establish a workforce housing advisory task force. That makes sense to me. Somebody needs to be tasked to watch this whole movement and arena, not to ask people not to come to this community, but to not ask our residents that have endured the impacts of disinvestment, disrespect, and total overlooking what's happening in the needs of our communities and our homes, our neighborhoods. Let's elevate that to priority number 1, just like we did, and I participated in and led the vision with all of my peers in this event center. And my issue is this: if we had a bevy of business leaders in this community that came in here at this level with this serious study, these individuals that have spoken tonight have studied and met for how long? How long, sir? 3 years. We've already studied. We have the benefit of community momentum. Let's move together with the community, do what we need to do. I apologize for not being sensitive to the needs of staff, but in my opinion, we can get over our discomfort. Make this a priority, do whatever we need to do. Let's get ahead of the momentum, and let's be part of making Rocky Mount great for everybody.
Councilmember Blackwell, so that we are not repetitive, I would concur with everything that you said. If you could formulate what you just said in a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
Okay.
So that we can move forward with all of your recommendations. And for so many years, I see so many people in the audience who are saying, when are we going to have a plan? Well, we're finally at the point where we are in the planning process. I laud and applaud everyone who has been a part of that process. I encourage you all to continue to be a part of that process, because it is with your input that we ultimately set the policy. We're not at a point where we are actually putting a policy in place, but we're here to tell you this evening that we are in support of such a policy that supports all of the goals and objectives that you have articulated here this evening. And I second your motion, Councilman Blackwood.
Does that include the
That includes
recommended
the
action?
adoption. It includes the adoption of the plan that's been submitted with the revisions that have been stated to diversify immediately the access points of information that is released to our public. We need the same strategic look that we're giving to Latino communities, to African American communities as well. If we can do it in one, we can do it in all. Number two, to move the focus from year 3 to year 1 on the page that's noted, and the section that's noted in the plan that the Community Academy has submitted, and to establish the Workforce Housing Advisory Commission. And I would ask that our city manager and her team work along with the Community Academy to come back to us within 90 days with a reasonable plan of action to establish that.
And just so you know, we have to get this back to her by December the 30th, so this is time sensitive. So what we're doing is approving the plan with the changes that have been suggested here tonight. So, you know, that's our goal, because we've got a time frame that we've got to do it in. So again, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would just like to just appreciate the community and to say that you come tonight very well prepared, as Councilmember Blackwell has stated. But we sit here talking and listening to what you were saying and saying among ourselves. Now, we have talked about these same things for 2-3 years ourselves. And so I too agree with my fellow colleagues here that we need to move forward, and that the time is now. So thank you for your work.
Mr. Knight?
I just want to say thank the citizens for coming out and presenting your thoughts and concerns with us. Usually gentrification is a challenge to local officials, but it's really not a challenge for us here in Rocky Mount. When you look at Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, and Ward 4, most of our ward lies within some of those underserved communities. And so we are aware, because we live in them, we work in them, I played in them, and was educated in them, and I go to church in them. So we understand the challenges that we have. We also understand that our citizens ask us for economic development on the east side and all over Rocky Mountain, which we are seeing occurring. So we know that when, and forgive me if I'm looking down, but my notes, when we look at gentrification is when people with money start fixing up poor neighborhoods. And that sounds great, but the flip side of that is that it means that poor residents can't afford to live there anymore and have to move. We don't want to see anyone displaced. And so it's been on our radar screen to address this, and I'm glad that along with Superior Cole, who has galvanized this community to echo what our vision is for the city, which is the city on the rise for everyone, not just certain sectors of the city, and also to our other council members in Ward 7, 6, and 5 that agrees with us and don't want to see gentrification as well, but we want to see development all over the city. So I appreciate those council members and the mayor work along with us, really understanding that this is not a delay or denial, but it's a urgency that we have a plan to address this. And please work with us as we continue to grow and continue to rebuild in those neighborhoods that has not been developed, or monies have been placed in there way before we was elected to this seat. It started not just 5 years ago, but many, many years ago. And we realized that, and most of us ran on that agenda to see this come to fruition. and to celebrate all wins and all development in all areas. So again, we thank you for coming out on this cold winter night. Some young, some old, so we do appreciate it. We know that it's very important. It's important to us as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just make a comment that, going back to the committee of the whole meeting, one thing that I heard, which I think squares with what we heard tonight, is we're not saying we don't want development, we want equitable development. And that will bring us together, I think, as a city if that happens. And the other thing that I think is really part and parcel to this is that we do need to hear what people think and what they believe and their ideas about how to do this. We'll be better, we'll have a better plan if we do that. And we can, Councilmember Blackwell, we need to continue to make sure we've got mechanisms in place so that we can hear people and tap those resources.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Item 15 is approved with the changes. We're going to move on to item